Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Excellent Way. I am Brandon Garcia, aka Coach B, and today's podcast is interesting because it's two interviews in one. One is a Zoom call that I got to do with my cousin Jennifer, and the other is with Jessica that I got to do in person, and she's a member here at CrossFit ELM. And the reason we did two parts is my cousin Jennifer is 26 or 28 weeks pregnant when we took this call, and she's wondering, is CrossFit safe for pregnant women? And so her and I have our discussion about that, and then in conjunction with that, when she asked her question, one of our members here now, Jessica, who is pregnant and doing CrossFit, she had a few other questions about the safety of doing CrossFit as a pregnant woman and how to handle people when they kind of scoff at that, the fact that she's doing CrossFit even though she's pregnant. And so we have to have that conversation of, is it safe for pregnant women? And if you are doing CrossFit and you're pregnant, what are some things to look for? How do you guide yourself through that? And how do you communicate with your coach as you go through that, and your doctors, and making sure that all of those lines of communication are open to keep mama healthy and the baby healthy and all of those great things. So we get to hear this conversation about pregnancy and CrossFit from two different perspectives. One, my cousin Jennifer, who is currently pregnant and not CrossFitting but wants to start. But then from the perspective of Jessica, a current member here who started CrossFit at about 12, 13 weeks. So really awesome conversations. One is a Zoom call, and the other is a in-person conversation. So hope you guys get something out of this. And then for those of you who are wondering about the safety of CrossFit with pregnancy, this will be a great podcast for you. So without further ado, my conversation with Jennifer and Jessica.
Computer, because I don't know what's going on with my Zoom. Okay. Okay, folks, welcome back to The Excellent Way, and I am here with my cousin Jennifer, and she asked a really fun question, and it's a really cool question for me because of, well, multiple reasons. One, because she's family, so this is exciting, and then also in the gym, this is something we deal with all the time, but it's a question we get often, so this is an awesome conversation to have because it's important. And so, yeah, what was your question or concern or whatever it is that you brought up in that thread?
Yeah, so I, this week, am 28 weeks pregnant. So my question was, can you do CrossFit while being pregnant? And kind of piggybacking off of that, also, is it safe to start this late in the pregnancy as well?
Yeah. So, yay, your baby's coming. That's fun. The answer to the first part of that question is yes, absolutely. We have actually personally walked a dozen women through their pregnancy and in a couple of cases, besides mom and dad, we were the first people to know. Now, that's because as trainers, we need to know that so we can be ready for that and adopt, for that. It's one of the coolest things that you get to watch is as these women walk through their pregnancy, they're able to maintain a certain level of strength, a certain level of fitness that then later makes their labor and delivery much easier. So that's been a very fun aspect of that for us. And as you move deeper into your pregnancy, different things change. At first it's, hey, we just need to watch your heart rate and make sure that you feel good as you go through the workout, right? As you get deeper into pregnancy, every woman's a little bit different. Some stuff is like, hey, you know what? I can't be upside down because it makes me dizzy. Okay, well, we're not going to go upside down anymore. Or, hey, like doing squats is really like, it's bugging my hips. Okay, let's find a version of a squat that we can do that doesn't bug your hips. And so as you go through any fitness journey through your pregnancy, those are things that you have to consider. The cool part about doing it in a CrossFit gym is you get to do it under the eye of a coach. And if you have a coach that knows and has done it before and has approached that with kind of the respect that it needs, they can walk you through it safely. Can you start this late in your pregnancy? Yes, but I would say if you're going to do that, I would seek out a coach that has experience with it. Just because of the things that I talked about before. It's those it's the ability to adapt on the fly, knowing that, every woman's pregnancy is a little bit different, but there are some similarities, right? Like I said, you have to watch heart rate. As you get deeper into your pregnancy, especially, you have to watch range of motion, right? So like you guys have this hormone called relaxin. It relaxes all those ligaments and all that stuff so things can shift and move so that baby can be there. And so that makes certain things kind of like, hey, we should probably not do that, And then as you get deeper into the pregnancy, it's having a coach who can like watch you move and know, hey, that looks like it feels funky. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
And so for both of those questions, the answer is yes. If you've already been working out and then you decide you want to do CrossFit, it's probably going to be an easier transition. If you're somebody who is like, you're pregnant and you're like, ooh, I want to make sure this is a healthy pregnancy, and you're coming off the couch, that's just going to take a lot more attention to detail, both on mama's part and on coach's part, right? But yeah, that's the easy answer to all of that. But I guess so. My question back to you is, when it comes to like having a healthy pregnancy, like what about CrossFit would draw you to that? Like, given that you said you're 22 weeks, 28 weeks.
28, yeah.
28 weeks. Okay. So, you're 28 weeks in. What about CrossFit is drawing you to that makes you go, that might help me stay going?
To be honest, I mean, obviously we preface this with you're my cousin. So I've seen the progress between you and Marka together, and it's just, it's incredible. And, I've heard from, and I've heard from, countless other people, not necessarily people that are at your gym, but just CrossFit in general. They love it and they can't say enough about it. So when you pose the question, I just was curious because, I've never done CrossFit before, clearly in a different type of state than I usually am.
Right.
But, it's amazing to see, just the transformation that people do get out of CrossFit and, being pregnant, wondering, can I lift this amount? Can I really lift anything over 10 pounds? Like just more so, questions around that realm.
Yeah. And so you bring up a good point, like how much can I lift, right? Like that's a big question as you go through your pregnancy. And a lot of doctors are, they're going to give you advice on the side of caution because that's their job, right? And so they're going to give you those limitations like, hey, don't lift any more than 10 pounds or 15 pounds or 20 pounds. And that's the funny part about it is if you talk to one doctor, they say 10 and the next doctor says 25 and this doctor says 15. And, it's all their personal opinion. And working with a CrossFit coach through a pregnancy is a lot like working with your own OB through a pregnancy. Like you can have those kind of one-on-one conversations where, hey, I lifted this box the other day and it just didn't feel right. And then the doctor's gonna be like, okay, well, let's have a conversation about that. You should probably limit what you're doing there, and they're going to give you their professional advice. And sometimes that comes from a place of protection, like they want to protect you, right? And sometimes that comes from a place of fear, unfortunately for them. Like, oh, if I give this, person the wrong advice, then I could get, they might come back and sue me or different things like that. So
right.
As you have those conversations with your doctor, and you absolutely should, like if 28 weeks you decide, you know what, I'm going to go in, I'm going to try this because I found a coach that knows how to do this, at your next doc appointment, let them know. Just say, hey, I've started this with a coach who understands what's going on. They're easing me through this. They're just going to help keep me healthy through this. And then, what should I look out for? And have that conversation with your doc as well.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Coolies. So that was an easy one. That was a quick one. Now, the cool part about this is I get to glue this together with Jess who we tried to connect and coordinate schedules, and then it didn't work out. And then she ended up actually getting COVID. Now we're thankful she got the mild version of it. She lost her sense of smell and she got a little achy.
I'm glad she's okay. That's
the important part. So what I get to do now is I'll be able to glue our conversation together with my conversation with Jess, because she has the perspective that kind of you're looking for. And then we can continue that conversation from there.
Sounds good to me.
Coolies. Well, thank you for asking a question in my thread. That was helpful.
You're welcome, of course.
Awesome. And I'm glad to see that you're healthy and doing great.
Doing good. Yep. Getting bigger.
Yes.
That's all that matters, right?
That's right. Growing baby. All right.
Yes.
All right, folks. So that was my conversation with Jennifer. Now we'll move to our conversation with Jessica, which is a little bit different conversation, but still incredibly beneficial and valuable to those of you who are wondering, is CrossFit while you're pregnant safe?
All right. So I don't remember the specific question that you asked.
I think I had asked for your advice pertaining people who kind of give a negative connotation to women who are pregnant and at a CrossFit gym. So like, for instance, I've had a couple experiences where I have said that out loud to either friends or family, and the reaction is always either like shock and awe or like, should you be doing that? You know, are you keeping yourself and the baby safe? And I just, it kept me kind of hesitant to come in. Like, you know, my first trimester was really rough, and I wasn't sure if I should, you know, push myself even further. But I'm glad I did, because honestly, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I never came in.
Yeah. No, that's so that's a really good one. Is earlier in CrossFit, as it started to get bigger, that was a huge deal. In fact, there was there just became this culture of like, there were women who were longtime CrossFitters, and then they got pregnant, and they just continued CrossFitting, and then just adapting as they were moving along in their pregnancy. Like, oh, like, I can't do snatches anymore because my belly's in the way. Like, this is not going to happen. You know, so I'm going to do things with dumbbells, and like, they learned how to work around, you know, their pregnancy and everything that came with it, but still keep their fitness on a level that was, you know, where they felt comfortable. But as they're doing CrossFit and they're, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, like, people aren't just looking at them and go, oh, should you really be doing that? Like, people are like vicious, and it's the internet. So there's that. You know, it's rare that you're going to have somebody like say some of these things to your face. You know, but like, you're dead on. Like, people look at that and like, you're pregnant and you're CrossFitting? Is that a good idea? Are you sure you should do that? I mean, you know, and I think that comes from, like, it's a lot of old school thought, right? Like, if you're pregnant, you should take it easy.
Right. Don't lift boxes. Like, I had a perfect example was today at work. I was lifting, like, I don't know, it was a tiny, tiny box, like this big, and maybe weighed like 10 pounds. And one of my coworkers was like, you really shouldn't be lifting that. And I was like, and I actually made a point to say, like, I just lifted 65 pounds at the gym the other day. I'm actually doing just fine.
You're like, I'm okay, thanks.
But I think it's this old school mentality where it's like, you get pregnant and you just sit there and bake a baby for 9 months. But it's so unhealthy to do that.
Well, I mean, just think about, like, within our culture, like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but like, within our culture, it's like become acceptable that, you know, you gain your baby weight. And baby weight, it used to be like, if you gain like 20 or 30 pounds, like, it was okay. No, now baby weight's like 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And everybody's just cool with that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I mean, you know, there's going to be some weight gain, yes, but you know, there's a brink where we're pushing on a little ridiculous. And part of that comes from that idea of like, hey, you just sit and you just bake that baby.
Right. Don't you lift a finger. Don't make yourself stronger for labor. and delivery, that's when you're really going to need it. You know, the comeback for me, like what also sold me on coming to CrossFit was that I wanted to be, you know, we're leveling up with baby number 2. And it's like, I wanted to be stronger to be able to handle my 6-year-old and also a baby carrier and still do all the things I need to do and come back quicker from labor and delivery instead of just like, I'm helpless and can't do anything for a couple weeks, you know, like, and I think I've heard a lot of people say it's a testament to just keep your body moving in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't understand when I hear the hesitancy in people's voices when I say that I'm in CrossFit.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell them too, like, it goes back to all the adjustments. I think from the day one when I started to now, the amount of adjustments that you and the coaches here have made make perfect sense. And I've never once felt uncomfortable throughout that process, like that I was hurting myself or baby.
No, yeah. And it's, I mean, I think you bring up a good point too, is like, if you're fit going into and through your pregnancy, not only is labor and delivery much more tolerable for 99% of women. There's always going to be that one woman that's just like, she just has a terrible delivery and that's just how it goes. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. But for the most part, women who take good care of their fitness going into and through pregnancy, they deliver easier and they recover faster, which to your point, like, kind of needs to happen because you just go back into life and like you have a 6-year-old and now you have a brand new baby. Yeah. Like, your body needs to be prepared for that. And all of the, you know, the continuingly heavier car seat that you have to carry, you know, but it just comes into, I think, just a view of lifestyle in general that that easier is better. Right. Like, if you're pregnant, you should take it easy because it's better. Well, that's not necessarily true. Like, easy is good sometimes, but it's not necessarily better. Better is better. Well, what's better than eating healthy and moving your body and keeping blood flow good and keeping muscles strong and ligaments strong, especially as you come, you know, as you get deeper into pregnancy, that becomes a real part of your body shifting. And so as you're moving through, if you're doing something like CrossFit that's focused on functional strength and functional movement, real world stuff, you have the ability to have an easier delivery. You have the ability to bounce back quicker. And it's, you know, part of the conversation that I had with my cousin Jennifer was, and really with CrossFit in general, most coaches are like, they know what they're doing, they understand what they're doing. There are coaches out there that have really great experience with working with pregnant women, you know, but like us, like, I'd never worked with a pregnant woman through CrossFit until I worked with a pregnant woman through CrossFit. You know, and so gyms have to be ready, willing, and able to do that. And this is something that I learned is like, even though you're the expert in those moments, you have to like be willing to listen to the experts in this portion of our field. You know, so who are the experts in the portion of this field? I don't know. How about CrossFit coaches who are women that have gone through pregnancy and CrossFit? Like, and so when they speak into stuff like, hey, you know, we should probably like avoid these kinds of movements as we work through pregnancy. Some women have problems with this as they get deeper. Some don't. You know, and so hearing those voices speak into that, into our specific little niche of fitness and CrossFit, like, not only have they gone through it themselves from a coach's mindset, like, these are high level coaches who they had to figure out for themselves, like, how do I do this? How do I do CrossFit and I have a belly in the way? Like, how do I do a burpee with a pregnant belly? Like, how do I deal with that? How do I do pull-ups and not feel super stretched out? You know, should I do sit-ups? Should I do toes to bar? Should I do all of these movements? Or do I find alternatives that allow me to stay healthy and stay within like, the idea of what CrossFit is. And so we've gotten to benefit from that knowledge as well. Like not just our own personal, like, hey, let's try this today. I'm not really sure, but we're going to find out. Okay, no, okay, we won't do that again. Let's not do that again, Or, oh, okay, that went good. That went better than expected. All right, let's keep doing that.
Yeah.
And it's somebody like you willing to say, all right, I don't really know, but I'm going to feel through it, and we're going to figure this out together.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, some of our younger coaches, like they've never done this before. Like TJ has her son who's 3,
Right.
but she didn't CrossFit through that. She was like doing fitness stuff, right? But she was in that place too. Like, I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know if I should be, right?
Yeah.
And so she just kind of did her best to stay fit. Well, now she knows like, oh, I totally could have done a lot of this stuff and I'd have been fine. And so it's that little bit of experience, but then, as she gets to walk with you through this, like she's going to learn that stuff too. Hey, like, let's try this.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, we'll figure something else,
Yeah.
But I think the cool part for you is, and in the context of what's going on right now, you just got over COVID.
Yes.
So not only are you pregnant, but then you got COVID as well, which I'm still both thankful and laughing about the fact that you got it, but your husband and your son did not.
Nope.
But that seems to be kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I took one for the team, and honestly, I had probably the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah.
A lot of people that I've heard their stories with COVID, and like I said, I mean, when I went to the doctor to get cleared, both of my doctors, my OBGYN and also my primary, were like, I'm so glad that you're getting back into CrossFit, like that you're going to a gym, that you're because it's only going to help your lung capacity by pushing those boundaries for yourself. And honestly, I do feel like my lung capacity wasn't that affected because of my time here at the gym prior. Like, I wonder what it would have been like to get hit with COVID, pregnant, 26 weeks pregnant, without having any physical activity, because there was that time, like I told you, with my first trimester, it was very hard for me to get that physical activity in. So honestly, I think that CrossFit kind of saved me during COVID.
It's one of the things that we're seeing is that the people who are caring for their health and their fitness are their bodies are more readily able to fight it off. Their symptoms are less severe. They fight it off quicker. They bounce back quicker, right alongside what we're talking about with after labor and delivery. Like after an illness, if you're fit and you're healthy, you bounce back quicker. And so it's that it all ties back into like, are you caring for your body in an intelligent way? And I think that women who are taking an active step, whether they're doing CrossFit or just like going to the gym and walking on a treadmill or riding a bike, or I think with Noah, it was yoga and I think just lifting like very light weights, like almost like aerobics. And just kind of keeping my body moving. But it's that same conversation. You were taking an active step in taking care of your own body so that it was best ready to do what it needed to do. Right. And this time around, it's a new adventure.
It is.
The cool part is you get to do it with coaches who are going to help you figure it out instead of you going, I don't know, this magazine said this is cool, we should do that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have felt very supported here. You guys have done a wonderful job at like making those modifications. If I'm feeling nervous about something, being like, okay, let's start here, and then if you feel like working your way up, great. So, and that's been helpful because you make a great point. If I didn't have coaches, I would maybe back off a little bit more and kind of let myself slide.
Well, I think that's true. I think that's true of any of us. Like,
it's true. Yeah.
I even notice that with myself. Like when I work out by myself, it's a different workout than when I'm in class with one of the coaches.
Yeah.
It's just a different workout. But yeah, I think that when it comes to that, like, how do you have that conversation with people who are giving you like the sideways eye, like, should you really be doing that? And for women out there that are wondering, because my cousin is not a CrossFitter. Jennifer's not a CrossFitter. And so her question was, is it safe for a woman who's pregnant to do CrossFit, especially if you've never done CrossFit?
Yeah.
So you started CrossFit like right towards the end of your first trimester, yeah?
Yeah, I want to say I was 15, 14,
Somewhere in that ballpark?
15 weeks maybe, 15
Yeah.
or 16.
And so like you had already you were already in it, and you were like, you know what, I know I need to do something to take care of my body, and I'm not in a place where I'm motivating myself.
Right.
So let's try this out. You know, for those women that are wondering, can I do this? Should I do this? Can you? Yes.
Yeah.
Should you? I'm going to say yes with an asterisk. Yes, you should, but if you're brand new to CrossFit, you should probably try to find a coach that has some experience coaching women through pregnancy.
Right.
Now, in your area, in your given area, that might not be possible, right? Limited numbers of gyms, limited numbers of coaches, things like that. But just, you know, if that's the case and you step in and you're there first, always communicate with the coach, let them know what's going on, let them know how you're feeling, you know, and if you have a good coach, they're going to be digging through every resource they can find to be like, all right, I want to make sure that this person has a good experience.
Yes.
You know?
That is true.
That is hugely true. But at the same time, it's like, you also, and you're fortunate in that you have a pair of docs in your corner going, yes, go back to the gym.
Yeah.
Please go take care of your body. And I think some of the old school thought is still the presence of some of those old school docs who they look at something like CrossFit and what they see is extreme because they see the ESPN folks and they see the YouTube goobers that do really dumb stuff and then they call it CrossFit, you know? And so they see that and they're like, oh, no, you should not do, nobody should do that.
Yeah.
But they've never come to a CrossFit gym. They've never experienced it. They've never experienced how the coaches coach class or anything like that. And so the other part of that is like, yes, you have to find a good coach, but you also have to like have a doc that's going to support you in that conversation.
Right. And communicate with your doctor. I mean, you know, as soon as I said, you know, from the beginning of the time with my OBGYN, you know, I'm doing CrossFit. This is what I'm doing. These are the weights I'm lifting. You know, my coaches know that I'm pregnant. They've done a really good job at adjustments. You know, I'm making sure that I can say my name. You know, that was a huge, the breath work.
Yeah.
Making sure that you can breathe through your workout. And they were like, perfect. Don't even need to say anymore.
Good.
That's great. Keep doing that.
So for all the women out there that are pregnant and CrossFitting, or maybe you're a CrossFitter and you're on your way to pregnant.
All of the above.
All of the above. Kind of one of our guiding rules has been as you go through your workouts, especially as you get deeper into your pregnancy, in the middle of a workout, you should be able to say, hi, my name is Jessica. And if you can't, you might be pushing a little too hard and you might need to bring it back because you have to control your heart rate, right? Heart rate and blood pressure is big, you know, controlling that through your pregnancy. And that's one of the easiest, quickest ways to do that. So you can still get a good CrossFit workout in, but not overdo it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a rule I say rule, I use that term loosely, but I guess a guideline we learned early in, like with our first or second client that we walked through pregnancy, that it was, when we put that in place, she was just like, oh, this makes this so much nicer.
Yeah.
You know? So like in the middle of a workout, if you're like, hi, my name is, you know, that, okay, slow down, breathe, catch your breath for a second, and then come back in. And it just, now you can focus, you can move well, you know, and do exactly what you're talking about. Keep yourself safe, but keep yourself moving.
Yeah.
So.
I think we called it just Operation Keep Yourself Moving.
Yeah, right. Operation Move.
Yeah.
Operation Move. Yeah. Yeah, that was, the nausea of the first trimester.
The nausea and the vertigo were awful.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, we pushed through it and it was just operation, just keep yourself moving. If I'm not at the top of, you know, the tier with everybody else, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just keep moving. And I feel like I've progressed by just keeping that rule in my mind is just keep moving.
Yeah. So there you go. Some pregnancy CrossFit guidelines. Breathe well.
Yes.
Keep yourself moving. And I think the big thing too is, and you kind of like, it's okay to not be the top of the top and be the first in the class. Give yourself a lot of grace, because you're just here to stay fit and healthy through your pregnancy.
Yes.
Right? And then on the other side of that, when you get cleared and they give you the go and you're like, all right, let's go, it's on, then we can go again, right? But all of those conversations have to have a context of communicating with your coach and communicating with your doctors.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and from there, I mean, if you're doing those two things, you're going to keep yourself safe, and you're going to keep yourself fit, and you're going to keep yourself healthy. Labor and delivery is going to be nicer, you know, as nice as that can be.
And then you're going to get right back at it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the hope. That's
So,
the goal.
coolies. Well, thanks for sitting down with me and having this conversation. And hopefully there are some women out there who are thinking about it that maybe have the courage to get off the couch and take care of that.
Yes. I would say give it a try. You never know.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan.
See you guys.